Sorry, Peter, so much for your astrology analysis. Anyway, welcome back, Santa Clarita.
Doug and John,
to our hometown station, AM-1220 KHTS. It's the Gazette Radio Hour with Doug and John.
It's that time where we have the top 5 news stories of Santa Clarita, which do not include astrology. I think it was astronomy.
Oh, whatever.
I'm fully willing.
We have news director.
I'm fully willing to cede my time to just hear Peter Marquez's theories on extraterrestrial life and planetary rotations. I'm pretty sure he was getting to the bottom of something there.
We were going to talk about torture. That could be.
I mean, the news is going to be
forget
here.
waterboarding.
The news is going to be here. Peter
we have Perry.
might not with that kind of.
Okay, Doug, rein us back in,
okay,
Doug.
let's go. All right.
Act like the mayor.
The news director of KHTS.
Who?
Mr. Who what?
Who is he? Come on.
News director. I just said it.
What's his name?
Perry Smith, and it's Perry's Highlights or whatever.
Woo! Perry's Highlights or
Perry's
whatever.
Week in Review.
That's why John does the titles.
Are we talking about his hairstyle?
All right.
Perry's got highlights.
So can I go ahead and can I do the news?
I just broke news.
Talking about Dwight Jurgens, talking about a former local Page 2 columnist.
Well, who do you write for?
A local Santa Clarita Valley newspaper.
Daily paper.
Yeah.
The daily paper?
The daily paper, not the weekly one.
The S word we're not allowed to say.
gets.
The S word we're not allowed to say on the radio.
Right.
Okay.
Formerly known as TMS.
Yeah.
There we go. Anyways,
TMZ.
former columnist, he was sentenced to 21 years for sex trafficking. And apparently he had a pretty colorful past while he was here. I was talking to John Boston, who worked with him at the paper to be remained unmentioned, and it's just a colorful character. Let's just say that.
We'll call him the Evil Empire from now on.
It was wild and heady days in the Santa Clarita Valley. Everything before like 2000, it was pretty much lawlessness, right?
Yeah,
it was just the Wild West before they. Not 2000. When did the mall come in? That's really what civilizes people,
point.
right?
That's a good point.
I mean,
that's when they stopped the wagon
once you
train.
have Westfield in town, you're no longer
That's when they
boonies.
stopped the wagon train and the stagecoach.
Kidding, I love it.
Now all we need is a Nordstrom's and a cheese cake factory.
Send
and a Porto's. Porto's
send all
is
of your
coming.
complaint
Porto's
emails to
is
Doug
coming.
and John.
Porto's is coming, you know?
Santa Clarita Gazette and Free Classified stuff.
Porto's is coming.
Cemex Bill.
Yeah.
The mine is not coming? It is coming?
No, Porto.
See. You and your Portos.
No, okay, so Cemex.
Yeah, interesting situation there.
Absolutely as much ado about nothing still.
Yeah, well, we're somewhat closer to the issue because of the House passed the bill.
Okay, the House passed the bill.
As a
standalone, last
kind
second.
Of a interesting maneuver there. It was put on the suspension calendar, which I was told you can pull bills off the suspension calendar if they are non-controversial. And then so there was a voice vote. It was unanimous. The people there in the committee hearing that day, including Buck, passed the bills. And then now it goes to the Senate. Now the problem being with it being such a last-second move and without little debate, it has to have unanimous approval. Again, part of that, it has to be a non-controversial bill for it to get through on this method. They've identified some issues. One, I've been told that there is one particular senator who has an issue with land gifting, so they're kind of working on him.
From New Mexico?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
And so he has concerns about that. I've been told that Senator Barbara Boxer's office, Senator Dianne Feinstein's office, and Congressman Brad Sherman is just working hard, pulling strings and trying to.
So they have to get all 100
but they have to get everyone to sign off on it.
Wow.
Which usually for those things, it's not that massive of a deal. I know it sounds like trying to get.
It's happened before,
but it happens all the time.
Right.
But what bill is it attached to?
It's not.
No, it's a standalone piece of legislation.
Standalone piece of legislation.
All right. So
which is if it were put in with a package of legislation, which is the way it should have been.
Right.
Right. They were planning on it being part of an omnibus bill package like the NDAA, and that didn't happen. And so, who knows why or how? But anyways, so
it's there.
It's there, and that's what we're waiting on. And so we'll see. And in the next couple of days, we're going to know a lot more because obviously the Senate's running out of time to get it approved in this session. Oh my gosh, we only got a minute left. Okay,
all right.
So running through things. New mayor Marcia McLean, she took the her turn.
Want to be the old new mayor?
Yeah,
the new old mayor.
I have no.
Welcome to the new boss. That. Anyways,
same as the old.
So she's.
Sorry, doing my mouth.
I like it. And then Steve Knight, he's on the House Armed Services Committee. That was something that was talked about during the election campaign where Tony Strickland was saying, if I get elected, I'm going to have a guaranteed spot because I know Mac Thornberry, and it turns out Steve Knight's got that spot now. Yeah. So nothing to worry about there.
Wasn't that kind of a watch?
I'm sure that when you look at how much military industry we have here in that district, it's a no-brainer. I mean, why would you not want the person who's going to be advocating for some of those interests to be on that committee?
Exactly.
And then we had a terrible fatal crash on Monday morning. They're still kind of figuring out the details there. But a Lancaster father, what CHP officials, Sheriff's Department officials suspect is that a Lancaster father drove his car around some obstacles and into the back of a truck and killed himself and his 2 children.
On purpose. Yeah,
so that's all the news is fit to print.
What is there a late breaking story you can tell us about?
Oh, yes, and we're going to have a new Heart District PIO in the coming weeks. Gail Pinsker, she's been with us for about 4 years at the William S. Hart Union High School District, and she's now taking a job with the Santa Monica Malibu Unified District. We're just put that up on our site, hometownstation.com.
What's that site?
You can read some more about that, hometownstation.com. That's why you're my favorite, John. I hope you're watching, Doug. I play favorites, and it's John right now.
Oh, a test? Is that breaking news? Or
So,
is that
yeah,
like,
it's more news. I don't even know.
Don't forget to pick up some milk on the way home.
My honey-do list is not the concern of the Doug and John show. So,
well, if anybody
just know
wants
that
to
it exists.
If anybody wants to call in to have Perry do something for them,
it's Perry at hometownstation.com.
Perry at hometownstation.com. You can add to his honey-do list. He'll stop and pick you up milk on the way home.
Welcome.
Suggestions. All right. Well, thank you, Perry Smith.
Thanks for having me,
Thanks,
guys.
Perry.
Always a pleasure
director?
on this side of the mic.
News director.
KHTS.
All right. You're listening to Gazette Radio Hour with Doug and John on AM-1220 KHTS, Santa Clarita's hometown station. The torture will stop.
All right, everybody, you're back on Santa Clarita's hometown station, AM-1220 KHTS. It's the Gazette Radio Hour with Doug and John. It's the Radio Digest version of the Santa Clarita Gazette and Free Classifieds for all you need to know to be in the know. And we have with us, John.
Are we talking? Are we doing it?
What?
I don't know. You tell me. What are we doing?
Doing what? Anyway, we have our national correspondent on and our contributing writer to the Gazette, Mr. Robert Patrick Lewis. Robert, are you with us?
Hey guys, I'm right here.
Hey Robert, how's it going?
Doing great. How you guys doing?
Hanging in there. I was looking at my checkbook the other day and was like, wow, I'll be able to afford some for Christmas. Not everything all my kids want, but I didn't want to go because I didn't want to be overdrawn.
Well, what does that matter?
Yeah, good
We
point.
just passed a budget for $1.1 trillion, and we don't have the money to cover it.
Well, all you got to do is, just create the ability to start printing your own money. So just start printing John dollars, and you'll be good to go.
There you go.
And everything just magically appears as long as there's a bill to pay for it. It's okay, right?
Yeah, just take me off the gold standard, right?
Yeah.
Sorry, wait a minute. That's going back too far.
So, Robert, I don't know if you're like me, but I am irritated as all get out with John Boehner and his crew. It's almost like they ignored the election, what the people were telling them in November, that the change they wanted in our country. And they take this budget that covers Obamacare and immigrants' benefits, among others, and they cram it down our throat and they pass it to go all the way to September of 2015. Why couldn't they just have passed a bill to get us through to February and then rework the whole thing?
Well, and that's where it doesn't seem to make a lot of sense. The only thing that really made me happy about this bill was that Nancy Pelosi was left kind of, she was the last one standing when the music stopped, and there was, the game of musical chairs that's been going on in the White House. And I like that she's finally been kind of alienated and left out on her own, because I'm not a big fan of Pelosi. But there are so many things with this budget that didn't make sense, because they could have done that. The Republicans had a plan B. So if this had all gone to the end and the budget hadn't been passed and the government had been shut down, they could have changed everything. They had a plan B. Everything could have been redone when they retook a majority in the beginning of next year. But unfortunately, they gave a lot of concessions in this, which doesn't make a lot of sense.
Did they get anything out of it?
Well, there's some very interesting things that did get out of this. So the Pentagon is getting twice as much money as it asked for tanks and planes and things like that, which is very, very strange when there's a lot of these other programs that are losing money and the Pentagon's getting twice what they asked for. So the people that actually are there, that know what they need and know how everything works and knows what's on their needed budget, they're not listening to. They're saying, "Oh, you guys think you need $100 million? We'll just give you, we'll give you $200 million." Okay, so of course, we're talking about the billions of dollars here, but
exactly.
At the same time, Canada just released this report saying that the F-35 fighter, which is one of this big strike fighter we just spent billions of dollars on.
Yeah, the big one.
They're saying it has no edge against other fighters on most missions. Right? So on the one hand, the Pentagon, who knows all this data about the plane, who knows its actual use, and who's the one who says, "Hey, this is what we need," they're saying this is all that we need, but the government, who thinks they know better than the generals, is saying, here's twice as much money. Oh, and by the way, here's a plane that you guys don't want that's really not worth what it was cost and isn't really going to have a whole lot of use to us. So it doesn't make sense where the dollars are being spent. Well, it does make sense. It's lobbyists.
It's lobbyists. Don't you think that's kind of indicative of the entire problem and the entire process? I mean, going back to what you were saying earlier about, they had a plan B. They really don't, and that's part of the problem. Because if there was any threat or any mention or any type of hard stance where the government was going to get shut down, guess whose fault it was going to be? The government's going to get shut down, and you're going to go back to Obama telling veterans they can't go to the Vietnam War Memorial because it's closed. Remember that?
But I don't get why. Yeah, why are the Republicans, the moderate Republicans, so concerned with being blamed for getting the government shut down? Was it that bad a PR?
Yeah,
the election's over right now.
Yeah, well, they're over right now. But again, I think it was John McCain who had a great thing that he said a few years ago, where he was talking about getting elected into our current state as a politician, whether it be a congressman or a senator. You get voted in. You go through the campaigning. You go through the donations cycle. You go through all the election cycle. You get elected. You have about a month that you're in office before you have to start campaigning again for the next election.
Yep.
So while, when for our minds we go, oh, well, they just had the election, so their seat is safe. But every single cycle, the amount of money poured into politics by lobbyists and special interests skyrockets. And they just passed a new bill that said personal private donors can put in even more money than they used to be able to. I think it's some crazy amount.
$320,000.
Right, and so that just means it's going to get worse. It's going to get exponentially worse. So that month that they used to have, well, maybe it's the next day they got to start campaigning now. Because that's, at the end of the day, politics is no longer about the politician and what their actual decisions are or their record is. It's about how much money they can put into it.
It's a plurocracy. Or plurocracy.
Plutocracy?
Plutocracy. Yeah, it was something like that. Which is basically,
It's bad.
Thanks. I appreciate that. Just, wow, I'm pulling out a college word and you're ramming it down my throat. I appreciate that. If you weren't a Green Beret, I'd be very angry with you. No, it's basically government by the rich, and the poor people just kind of like go, okay, cool.
But now, Robert, by the way, we're talking to Robert Patrick Lewis.
He's an author. You can say
an
that.
author, yeah.
Okay.
John, would you shut up? Well, you made me lose my train. Oh, now the bill is in the Senate, the budget bill. And what's her name? Mary, the one they think might run for president?
Bachman.
No.
No.
Anyway, she's
the one who lied and said she was part Indian.
Right. She is threatening to filibuster this bill so it doesn't get passed. And now they're saying it's okay for her to the Democrats to shut down the government. And there was a really funny, because every commentator this morning was saying, oh, she's the Ted Cruz of the Democratic Party. She's just like Ted Cruz. But she's being looked at as a hero right now, whereas Ted Cruz was looked at as a villain.
That's yeah.
Well, unfortunately, I mean, that's just it's the lens that you're looking at it through, and unfortunately, that's it's no longer any kind of conspiracy theory or any doubt. We know that the media is abhorrently controlled by the left.
Yep.
I mean, it just is, and that's they're starting to come out. So Obama's popularity is starting to decline, and the media is actually starting to kind of go after him and call him to task on certain things. But so it's Elizabeth Warren. You look at Elizabeth Warren on one side, and there's There's a part of the Democratic Party that have started their own Warren for President party.
Yeah.
And, it's crazy because she could probably say the exact same things as Cruz, not just be like him on the other side, but take exactly what he says and repeat it again verbatim, and Cruz would still be called a lunatic and this crazy conservative.
Yeah. Hey, Robert, we're up against the break. I'm sorry. We're going to take a break. Can you hang on?
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
All right. You're listening to Gazette Radio Hour with Doug and John with Robert
Patrick Lewis.
I was going to say that. I was taking a breath. I was talking too fast. With Robert Patrick Lewis. See, I was going slow for the emphasis, Robert.
Sorry.
Our national correspondents. You're on AM-1220 KHTS, Santa Clarita's hometown station. We'll be right back.